Year's Day. There's something mystically intriguing about it. Resolutions? Maybe. The unknown of what's ahead? Could be. But the real question, what about college football fans on New Year's Day? Maybe it should sound like this. New Year's Day, the legacies, the tailgates, the traditions. Game day. Today, the final chapter of the 2021 season will be written. It's Penn State. It's Arkansas. The Unrivaled Pregame Show, live from the Outback Bowl, starts right now.
Preparation. The process of making oneself ready for a mission.
It should be a really good game. Yeah. Two good teams. Arkansas has been a great story. Thoughts on what you're anticipating here?
We have sacrificed together. This is our story.
When you say it, there's this thing that pops into your mind.
We determine the outcome. Tampa, January 1st, Outback Bowl, Arkansas.
We've got Penn State and Arkansas. First ever meeting between the two schools.
Prepare for defining moments in life. Touchdown, Penn State.
Tomorrow is more than a game.
Next game on the list right here. Let's go. Wow.
It showcases our preparation.
You prepare for defining moments in the season.
Our process.
Down the field. He's got Lambert Smith.
Our program.
This is what dreams are made of right here.
Pass is intercepted and run in for a touchdown by Daquan Hardy.
And this has just been bubbling and bubbling and bubbling, and here we go.
About as good a matchup as you can have.
Today's a defining moment.
He's got a touchback and score.
To the end zone, Parker Washington.
To the end zone. And it's intercepted. Jair Brown, who's going to go the distance. Touchdown, Penn State.
Throws across the middle and it's intercepted. Going the other way.
Joey Porter Jr.
For some, this is the last time wearing blue and white. For others, it is just the beginning.
Oh, you can just start feeling it, Bill, don't you?
For all of us, it's time to continue our legacy. We are
Happy New Year and welcome into the Unrivaled Pregame Show live from Raymond James Stadium. I'm your host, Mitch Gerber. Coming up, this show will preview the first all-time meeting in school history between Penn State and Arkansas as Penn State makes their 51st bowl appearance in program history. We'll also go one-on-one with multiple Super Bowl champions, including Tampa Bay's own Chris Godwin and Donovan Smith. We'll bring you exclusive looks to warm-ups as you're seeing right here. Jordan Stout, Jake Pinniger and company getting ready for this matchup between Penn State and Arkansas. And we'll look back at Penn State's week down here in Tampa, Florida. Weather report looks something like this. It is hot. It is humid, and it is New Year's Day in Tampa, Florida. 82 degrees with an expected humidity of 61%. Coach Franklin's message to this program all week long was, hey, you got to hydrate. You got to get yourself acclimated to this environment. Speaking about the heat and the warmth here in Tampa, Florida. Speaking of head coach James Franklin, this is him just after 9:35 a.m. Eastern time as he walks around the field here at Raymond James Stadium for Penn State's team arrival. It was an electric scene outside as the team, Sean Clifford and company, you saw earlier in the beginning of the broadcast, walked into a sea of Penn State fans just beyond the confines and the gates of Raymond James Stadium. Head coach James Franklin, though, doing what he does all the time, doing his pregame lap, and I was following right behind him right here, and he said, hey, how come we don't have palm trees inside Beaver Stadium? Great question, Coach. How about a pirate ship to go on top of that as well? Penn State and Arkansas once again meeting for the first time in program history today as Penn State and Arkansas will meet for the first time, and Penn State holds a 24-23 record against all-time SEC current members of the SEC rather. as they'll square off with Arkansas today. Let's flash back to January 1st of 1996. Tampa, Florida, the site. Penn State's first appearance in the Outback Bowl. 53,161 on hand on a rainy, sloppy bowl game here in Tampa, Florida. Look at that weather. Talk about Outback Bowl. How about Mud Bowl? That is absolutely ridiculous. Rain coming down in flocks here in Tampa, Florida. First quarter was dominated by defense as the only points put up on the board were by a 19-yard Penn State field goal. Penn State opened the second half, though, on an absolute tear thanks to effective adjustments at the break. Just 5 minutes into the second half, Wally Richardson, the quarterback for Penn State, earned his second touchdown pass of the game on a 9-yard spiral to Bobby Ingram. Just 2.5 minutes later, Wally Richardson threw for his third touchdown pass of the game on a 4-yard strike to Stephen Pitts, making it a 29-7 game. Penn State would go on to put up 43 points in this contest as Bobby Ingram earned MVP honors. Well, Penn State has a rich tradition in the state of Florida, not only in the recruiting world, but also playing in bowl games. Good place to be on January 1st to start the new year, no matter what you're in. For more on that, we turn it over to the second member of our broadcast team, Connor Griffin.
Well, Mitch, once again, Penn State is back in the Sunshine State that the Lions have become quite familiar with over the course of their history. They've now appeared in 51 bowl games, with 23 of those coming in Florida, making it the most common bowl destination for Penn State by a landslide. And if you take those 23 bowl games and treat them as if they were the only bowl games in program history, there would still be 74 Division I teams with less bowl appearances than Penn State. In other words, over half the country has played in less bowl games, period, than Penn State has played in Florida bowl games. The first bowl game in Florida came exactly 60 years ago. It was the last bowl victory for head coach Rip Engel, a 30-15 win over Georgia Tech in the Gator Bowl. Since then, the Nittany Lions have been able to tack on some very memorable wins in Florida. For example, the back-to-back undefeated seasons of 1968 and 1969. They were capped off in Miami with a pair of Orange Bowl victories. John Cappelletti's Heisman season was capped off with an Orange Bowl victory too, as was the 2005 Big Ten championship season. In 1993, Penn State's first season in the Big Ten, the Lions went into Orlando as double-digit underdogs against Tennessee in the Citrus Bowl. The Lions ended up coming out on top in that one, 31-13, and there was a win that set the tone for the following year, which of course was the 1994 undefeated season. And when you look at the Outback Bowl specifically, Penn State's 3-1 in their 4 appearances, with each of those 3 wins coming by 2 possessions or more. So this is certainly a bowl game that the Lions have had much success playing in, a state that they've been able to have a whole lot of success playing in as well. We'll see exactly how that carries over into the game today. Wish I could be down there in Tampa, though, instead of being here in Pennsylvania. I'm sure it's a little bit nicer weather down there, but I'll put a couple palm trees behind me on the green screen. There we go. We got them rocking. Put a couple palm trees on there, make it feel a little bit more like Florida. But wherever you guys are watching the game, I hope you enjoy it. Happy New Year. And with that, Mitch, I'll send it back to you.
Well, Connor, Happy New Year to you as well. Love the palm tree setup in the background wherever you are right now. I think back in the state of Pennsylvania. A little bit warmer here in Tampa, Florida than back home in State College. Fans, don't forget to join us following today's game for the Unrivaled Post-Game Show as we'll recap Penn State's matchup with Arkansas by visiting with head coach James Franklin and select Penn State student athletes right here live from inside Raymond James Stadium. Also, don't forget to tune into the Unrivaled Podcast, the official podcast of Penn State football, as this week we took a deep dive into the Penn State football program by visiting with members of the Penn State football video staff and academic staff. Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from so you don't miss a single episode all year long. What better way to start the new year than to listen to an episode back from 2021 of the Unrivaled Podcast. Getting a live exclusive look right here on the Unrivaled Pregame Show. You're not going to get these looks anywhere else, no matter where you tune into right now. We've got a little warm-up action going on right now for Penn State football. They're going to take on Arkansas at noon Eastern on ESPN2, where as always you can listen to Steve Jones, Jack Ham and Company on the Penn State Sports Network. Field conditions are absolutely immaculate here inside Raymond James Stadium. If you actually look up close to where the end zones are painted, there's a slab of grass that looks like it was rolled in within the last couple of days, which the turf staff here at Raymond James Stadium often has to do because there's so many games played here. It was just a bowl game played here last Saturday, I believe, so they got to change that turf out frequently. Those cheers that you hear right now are for the Arkansas Razorbacks coming out onto the field for their warm-ups here at the 2022 Outback Bowl. Now, speaking of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not just the turf staff, but some players that make plays on this field at the NFL level, our former Penn State Nittany Lions, Chris Godwin and Donovan Smith, as we caught up with them earlier this week out at practice. Penn State continuing their preparations for the 2022 Outback Bowl as we visit with two Super Bowl champions, Chris Godwin and Donovan Smith. Gentlemen, as you walked back through these gates today and saw the Penn State Nittany Lions practicing for their bowl game, what was the first thing that raced through your mind?
Man, honestly, it's just crazy to be on this side of it. You know, I remember back in my time playing at Penn State, I was used to seeing guys kind of come back and wondering like if that would be me one day. So it's cool seeing these guys getting after it, and I'm sure they're enjoying the weather too.
Before we get your answer, Donovan, I'm going to have you show off the Super Bowl ring right there. Look at that thing. Get a nice tight shot of that right there. What was going through your mind as you walked back in here?
Oh, no, it felt good. Being able to see the young guys out here, making a name for themselves, flying around in this beautiful weather, get away from State College. So, it feels good. But, it's always good when you see the blue and white pull up. So.
Donovan was taking in those one-on-ones a little bit earlier down on the D-line, O-line. From a Penn State perspective, and now obviously doing what you're doing in the NFL, how do you think that head coach James Franklin and this Penn State football program shaped you into the individual you are?
Really, I think it just prepared me, for the journey that I'm on now. A lot of the same things that we were working on there, just the power of hard work, consistency, and doing things the right way are all the same things that I'm still applying now, so it definitely helped me get prepared for this level.
Core values still shaping your life to this day. How about you?
Same old, same thing with Chris, definitely just being over the transition. It made it very easy, pretty much Penn State guys in the NFL, transition pretty well, and it's never really any issues. And it starts with the foundation that's created here, with the history and everything with the program and what Franklin is doing here. So, huge shout out to him, huge shout out to the team, and, we got to go out there and get that win this week.
That Super Bowl ring that Donovan Smith had on, I can confirm it was absolutely massive. By massive, I mean that's not your ordinary ring. That is built for a large man such as Donovan Smith. Got to take the top off of the ring too. That's a pretty cool, unique aspect to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl champion rings. Once again, you're getting a live look at warm-ups happening here inside Raymond James Stadium. Kickoff at about noon Eastern time, couple minutes after on ESPN2, or as always, you can listen to Steve Jones, Jack Ham, and company on the Penn State Sports Network. Now, we're going to hang tight here for just a second because the look that you're going to get right now is the rest of the Penn State Nittany Lions out of the top for this matchup. You heard Arkansas just a few moments ago coming out on the field. You're about to hear Penn State fans all dressed in white here for this matchup erupt as the rest of the team comes out onto the field for this matchup between Penn State and Arkansas. Let's listen in. There it is. There's the Penn State Nittany Lions coming out of the tunnel for this matchup between Penn State and Arkansas. The first meeting between these two programs in program history. It's starting to feel electric here inside Raymond James Stadium on the 1st of January 2022. Happy New Year to everybody watching right now, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, Lion Vision, YouTube, no matter where you're getting this from right now, you're going to get inside looks like you won't find anywhere else on the Unrivaled Pregame show. Gotta say thank you to everybody that helped out from the crew standpoint, as well as those of you that watched throughout the entirety of the season, from the first game to the bowl game right now for the Unrivaled Pregame show and Unrivaled Postgame show. It was one heck of a year for us as a crew to be able to bring you this exclusive access like you won't find anywhere else. Now, as we go through these warm-ups here, quarterback Sean Clifford is 356 yards shy of 8,000 career passing yards. We'll see if he can eclipse that today. Would have to have a massive game for Penn State. Sean Clifford announcing that he is going to come back for another season just a few weeks back, so excited to have number 14 back for Penn State today on the offensive side of the football. Kevon Lee, the running back, 67 yards shy of 1,000 career rushing yards. Very confident running back for Penn State right now. We'll see if he can put up some big-time numbers for Penn State's ground game today. John Lovett, 20 yards shy of 2,000 career rushing yards, and Jonathan Sutherland, 6 tackles shy of 100 career tackles. Awesome picture that we saw on the promotion graphic of Jonathan Sutherland out at practice this week with his hair flying all over the place. Jonathan Sutherland, once again, the redshirt senior, 6 tackles shy of 100 career tackles. Now let's go back towards the practice side of things. It was a who's who out at practice for Penn State this week. A former letterman coming back to make sure that they can deliver a message to Penn State football, as well as these from the players' aspect of things, as well as the coaches. One of those individuals was John Gilmore, a former tight end for Penn State from 1998 to 2001. He was a 2002 sixth-round draft pick in the NFL by the New Orleans Saints and played for the Saints, Chicago Bears, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Pittsburgh Steelers from the years of 2002 to 2011. Before we get to that, I know that most of you tuning in want to be able to see these warm-ups right now, so let's continue to look at these as they're going to go into the huddle right now, break this one down as they do every single game. I believe it will be quarterback Sean Clifford, a team captain, that will give the little motivational speech right here that you'll be able to see. He's right there in the center. If you can point him out right there on the map, he's very little on the screen right now, but nonetheless, quarterback Sean Clifford helping deliver this message for Penn State football. This is one of those adrenaline rushes that if you're a player, you can get juiced up, you can get amped up, you can get juiced for a big-time moment like this between Penn State and Rutgers in the Outback Bowl here on January 1st of 2022. As they break the huddle, let's toss it over to John Gilmore, who caught up week at practice. The countdown to kickoff continues as we check in with former Penn State tight end John Gilmore, who is taking in practice out here. John, being a former tight end not only here at Penn State but in the NFL as well, what's continued to stand out to you about the tight end play at Penn State?
Oh, smart players. You know, we're known as linebacker U, but if you look through the history books, there's been some pretty good tight ends that have come out of Penn State, and it's a very interesting position. Obviously, you have to do a little something in the run game and in the pass game, and every tight end group that I've been around, they've been a special group, and just based on what I've seen throughout the season, this looks like a good one.
What have your conversations been like over the years with head coach James Franklin? I know as we were walking over here, you also mentioned you've had conversations with tight ends coach Ty Howell.
Well, I like James Franklin's style. I'm glad we were able to lock him up now for a few more years. I think consistency is key in everything. I've also had a chance to get to know Coach Ty now that he's the new tight end coach. He actually reached out to me in the offseason wanting to get guys back connected with his guys just to kind of give them, some tips and some advice on how they can either get to the next level or just play that position to the best of their ability. And I really like what he brings to that position. He seems like the type of guy that tight ends gravitate to, just the way he approaches things. And he has a very talented room. So some of these guys that I know, the young guy, I believe Warren, the former quarterback, has an interesting story. Strange and Johnson, very good tight ends. So big boys, seeing him out here in person puts a different perspective on it. But yeah, no, I think they got a good group, and I think Coach Ty is bringing what he needs to bring to that tight end room for those guys to succeed.
What was going through your head today as you walked in here and you were able to take in a couple of the sights and sounds of the Penn State football program?
It's been a while since I've been at a practice like this, and I brought my son out here. He's a big football fan. When he was 7 years old, we made our first father-son trip to Happy Valley. He got a chance to tour the weight room and the facility, sat 50-yard line right behind the bench. And when we got home, his mom asked him, "Are you going to be a Penn State football player?" And his response was, "No, I'm going to be the Nittany Lion." And I think his goals have changed since then, just based on where he's at in life. But to bring him out here to experience this practice, being around these players, for him to personally see what it takes, at the college level, going into a bowl game, that's an experience that you can't replace. So excited to have him out here with my family to see this. Excited to be around this team and be around this coaching staff, getting to know those guys a little bit. And I'm glad it's taking place in my backyard here in Tampa.
That's John Gilmore out here at practice as Penn State continues to ramp up towards kickoff on January 1st. Well, we are certainly ramping up towards kickoff, as that was John Gilmore, who played at Penn State from 1998 to 2001, talking about the tight end side of things and the improved tight end play year after year here for the Penn State Nittany Lions as you continue to get exclusive live looks of Penn State's warm-ups as we get closer to kickoff between Penn State and Arkansas. Speaking of the tight ends, there they are. Brenton Strange, Theo Johnson and company getting ready for this matchup as they'll take the field on the offensive side of things for Penn State. Arkansas getting warmed up just on the other side of the field. Penn State continuing to go through their progressions here in warm-ups. There's about 45 minutes left on the clock before kickoff between Penn State and Arkansas here. Kickoff will be just after noon Eastern on ESPN2, or as always, you can listen to Steve Jones, Jack Ham and company on the Penn State Sports Network. Appreciate Penn State Health bringing us the official sponsor of the Unrivaled Pregame Show all season long. They've been great partners for us to be able to bring you guys these exclusive looks before every single game, whether that was team arrival or exclusive looks just like this from warm-ups, field level, like you won't get anywhere else. Now, Penn State didn't do just football things this week. They had a little fun off the field, so we're going to take a look back at what some of those fun things were. And it's not a bowl game without a little bowling action.
Okay, I pull up, hop out at the after party. You and all your friends say they love to get naughty. Sipping on that hit, I know you love that Bacardi. 1942, I take you back in the raw. Okay, I pull up, hop out at the after party. 1942, I take you back in the raw. Okay, I pull up.
All right, so that was the bowling alley side of things as the Arkansas band warm-ups right behind us. But not just bowling. Got to talk a little beach action for Penn State. They went over to Clearwater Beach earlier this week to spend some time by the water. Let's take a look back at some of the top moments from Clearwater Beach.
We wish you the very best in the Outback Bowl. We do want to present you with the key to the city.
I don't know how to swim, so this might not be the best choice. He can't swim! He can't swim! He can't do it! Do they have oceans in Germany? They do not have oceans in Germany. All right. Good vibes, man. That's all I got to say, man. Good vibes. I don't know how to stop recording. Come on.
I don't know about Hawk not saying he can swim, but still going in the ocean. Questionable decision right there. Glad he came out on top there as he continued to get live looks at Penn State's warm-ups right now happening as they continue to get loose and get ramped up for kickoff between Penn State and Arkansas. For those that just tuned in, this is the first all-time meeting between the two programs as Penn State currently holds a 24-23 record against current members of the SEC Conference. Live looks right now at Penn State's offense getting loose. Quarterback Sean Clifford announcing that he's coming back for another season with Penn State football. You saw Devin Ford, the running back for Penn State, one of the running backs rather for Penn State, run right in front of the camera right there as well. This running back core is hungry. They've been chomping at the bit all week to get back down here to Florida. Coach Jaywan Sider's roots, if you will. He spent some time at the University of Florida and has heavily recruited the state of Florida for Penn State football as he's a big asset on the recruiting trail and in that running back position room, picking up a couple of big-time recruits just a few weeks back on National Signing Day. Live looks inside Raymond James Stadium, going through the exit policy, it looks like, in case of little weather conditions or something like that. But hey, good news to report for all of you watching right now back in Pennsylvania, California, Virginia, wherever you might be watching. It's a clear, sunny day. Couple of clouds in the sky, 82 degrees, 61% humidity at the time of kickoff between Penn State and Arkansas. Can confirm it is hot down here on field level. The way that Raymond James Stadium is built, it almost holds that heat in because of the bowl structure to it. There's wind at the top of the concourse. As you can see, the palm trees kind of blowing a little bit when you do watch it on national television. But down on the field level, I'd say it's about 5 to 10 degrees hotter just being down here inside that bowl element. It was foggy this morning when we came to the stadium just after 7 o'clock a.m. It's been fog a couple of days here so far this week down in Tampa, Florida, as you get Parker Washington coming off the field here. Looks like to the left right there. Keandre Lambert-Smith, wide receiver for Penn State football. Whole lot of talent up and coming for Penn State football. His quarterback Sean Clifford walks off the field, goes back to the locker room, and gets ready for this matchup on his bowl appearance. Running back Noah Kane, he's chomping at the bit to get back onto the field and provide a huge day for that ground game for Penn State. We'll see what happens in this one, as once again kickoff is at noon Eastern on ESPN2 or the Penn State Sports Network. As Penn State leaves the field, we're going to turn it back towards a conversation we had earlier this week. Kyle Carter, another former tight end. A lot of tight ends around the program this week down here in Tampa, as he was a Penn State student athlete from 2012 to 2015. He was an undrafted free agent that played in the NFL from 2016 to 2019. Good career there for an undrafted free agent. Played with the Vikings, Giants, Seahawks, and Bills. Let's hear what Kyle Carter had to say. Preparations for the 2022 Outback Bowl continue here in Tampa, Florida, as we check in with Kyle Carter, former Penn State Nittany Lion and NFL veteran. Kyle, you just wrapped up watching practice here for the Penn State Nittany Lions on Tuesday. What stuck out?
Man, honestly, just taking and just being back, man, seeing some familiar faces. It's been about, I'm going to say 4 years since I was up for the spring game in 2017. So it was great just to, get around some of those familiar faces and just have some good conversations, just like back in the day.
What were some of the memories that flooded back to your mind as you were standing there watching?
Man, just practice, number one, man. Shoot, I haven't played since it's been about 2 years, man. So just obviously the horns, the hitting, just running around and pads and all that in the heat. I miss it a little bit, but I could also say just like talking with Deej, thinking all those times in the strength room and in the training room and just the winter workouts, all those little things, man. All those memories came back talking to guys like him.
What is your message to those individuals within this program and those that will come into the program here in the near future?
For sure. I mean, look, I would let anybody know, man, it's the little things that count. It's not just the weight room. It's not just the field, man. It's the classroom. And it's all the little things when it comes to just being on time. Because one thing I can say about Penn State, man, they taught me about life. I was able to kind of transition. They're going wild over there. I can just transition just what I learned on the field, off the field, and just with my coaches into life, man. And that's kind of the part I'm at now. I'll just tell them, man, don't burn any bridges. Keep your network strong and just stay humble throughout the whole process, whether you make it to the league big time, whether you just get in there for a little while, or whether you just move on to life right after.
They're going wild over there. If we want to show what's going on, they're kicking some extra points right here, or some field goals rather, to prepare for this Outback Bowl. What do you miss about those memories with the guys in the locker room?
Shoot, I miss them kickers being clutch and us not having to run or anything like that. But bowl games are fun, man. I know we missed, we couldn't go to 2 bowl games when I first started, man. So that first year we was able to get back to one, man. Those memories, we were in New York. I actually had a game with a touchdown that game. But
no big deal.
It's like, no, but just the memories, man, being with the team in a different place. And I know they love being down here in Florida just after being up at Penn State. I know it was like snowing y'all last few games, man. So these are the moments they're going to remember forever, man. So if I was them, I would just make sure I just enjoy every moment of it, man. Have fun, go out there and kick butt.
I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your week.
No doubt. Thank you.
No big deal. Just caught the game-winning touchdown pass in a bowl game for Penn State against Boston College up there in New York. That's Kyle Carter, former Penn State student-athlete from 2012 to 2015. Played for the Vikings, Giants, Seahawks, and Bills. Warm-ups coming to a close right here. This is one of the last things that Penn State does in their warm-up routine. They go through some offensive plays and defensive plays, if you will, so the offense can get loose, the defense can get loose, as you take a live look right there inside Raymond James Stadium. You're also hearing the band behind us. There's multiple bands here today from Arkansas to, I believe, a couple of high school bands, one specifically playing right now from the state of Missouri. Great opportunity for them to be able to come down here and play in front of a crowd, both on the Arkansas side of things and the Penn State side of things. So, cool opportunity for a traveling band at the school level down here and play for some fans. Kickoff set for noon Eastern. It's about 11:27 right now. There's 37 minutes and 6 seconds left on the game clock before these two teams square off on ESPN2 on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2022. You're starting to hear some fans now cheer for the Nittany Lions coming off the field as they go back in the locker room. Players huddling up right now one last time for a little let's go. I believe they break down with family on 3 as they'll run back towards the locker room, sit in their lockers, go through their final checklist in their head mentally. They'll visit with their position coaches before ultimately hearing from head coach James Franklin in the locker room, and then they'll bust out of those doors, come down the aisle and take a left, come out on the field where they're running off right now, and they'll square off. Kickoff, Penn State, Arkansas, nothing better. New Year's Day. This is the first all-time meeting between these two programs, as both programs, or Penn State rather, has a storied tradition of playing in the state of Florida for their bowl games. Connor Griffin delivered a heck of a report earlier in the day about exactly the details there. Go back in this stream and watch that if you missed it. This locker room right here, you're seeing the team go up the tunnel right now. They'll go up the tunnel, they'll take a right, and then it goes back about halfway to the 50-yard line is where their locker room is. Their locker room is adjacent to Arkansas's locker room, with Tampa Bay's home team locker room just across the hall from them as well. Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Heard from Chris Godwin, Donovan Smith earlier, both Super Bowl champions. Donovan Smith displaying a big old ring that screws off on the top. Pretty cool addition to the latest Super Bowl championship ring. There's the crowd right there that you see. sparse right now, but still 35 minutes left on the clock. Tailgate lots were starting to fill up as we were out there for Team Arrival. Speaking of Team Arrival, let's take a look back at what that looked like right now. Sean Clifford and company walked into a sea of people. Sean Clifford right there walking in with the all gray outfits, pants, Outback logo on the back. These were new for the Outback Bowl, specifically for Penn State football. Sean Clifford walked in, and then this little tunnel right here is where they went through. So there's fences on both sides, fans crushing those, and then as they walked in, they go towards the locker room, and then head coach James Franklin walked out onto the field, did his pregame lap. Sean Clifford with the deuces to the camera right there. Head coach James Franklin making a joke about, hey, we need some palm trees back at Beaver Stadium, and how about a pirate ship? Why not? Might be a cool little addition to Beaver Stadium down the road. I don't know what's there. Future possibilities. Who knows? It's a new year, 2022. High school band from Missouri wrapping up right there. Let's go to one more interview that we did with another Super Bowl champion. We promised multiple Super Bowl champions on this show. We're going to deliver that right now as we caught up with former Green Bay Packers Super Bowl champion Andrew Corliss, another tight end for Penn State. Checking in with another Super Bowl champion, Andrew Corliss of the Green Bay Packers, former Penn State tight end as well. This is the first time you've been around the program in a couple of years. What's going through your mind right now as you take in practice?
Oh, man, it feels like when I was playing. I'm so excited, man. It's a great group of, tight ends especially, but great group of guys, man. I'm just excited to, get back and, get around the program. My guy Ty is here. I used to play with Ty, the tight end coach, so, it's a blessing to be back around.
You're walking over here and you said you reached out to Ty when he received the tight ends coach position at Penn State University. What makes your relationship special with him?
He came in, he was a little younger than me coming in, but I know the type of worker he is. He's a hard worker, and it shows. It got him to where he is. And I told him if he had any questions, if you want to talk about any coverages, anything, you want to talk about, we definitely could talk about it. So I was excited for him mostly.
Speaking of hard work, it takes a lot of hard work to win a Super Bowl ring like that on your right hand. Flash that if you can right there for you. It takes a lot to get to that point, to be able to stand up on that stage in that moment. What's your message to the individuals behind you who are trying to get to that stage?
Listen, don't stop. Don't let nothing stop you. Once you get focused, if that's what you want, if the league is what you want, and wherever you want to go, not just the NFL, wherever you want to go, don't let nobody stop you.
Andrew Corliss, appreciate your time. Good to see you back around the program.
Yes, sir.
That's Andrew Corliss, former Super Bowl champion of the Green Bay Packers, a tight end for them back in 2006 to 2009. Was drafted, played for Penn State rather, from 2006 to 2009. Was drafted by Green Bay back in 2010 in the 5th round. Spent 5 years with Green Bay and 1 with the Detroit Lions. In the Arkansas band behind us right now, we can't bring you any more looks because our coverage is wrapping up here on the Unrivaled Pregame Show, and TV coverage is about to start, which means we unfortunately have to end the Unrivaled Pregame Show. But it's been a fun show. Appreciate all of you that tuned in, submitted your comments wherever you were watching from, your questions, anything like that. I know that somebody said they enjoy hearing from all the former Lettermen. Glad we could this week. Again, we heard from Chris Godwin, Donovan Smith, both Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, John Gilmore, a tight end, Kyle Carter, another tight end, and Andrew Corliss, rounding out the 3 tight ends that spent some time around the Penn State football program this week earlier as they continued their practice and their development towards this game between Penn State and Arkansas, which will be at noon Eastern on ESPN2 or the Penn State Sports Network. From all of us, we thank you for tuning in to the Unrivaled Pregame Show. Have a safe and healthy start to the new year. We'll see you on the other side.
Preparation. The process of making oneself ready for a mission.
Should be a really good game. Yeah. 2 good teams. Arkansas has been a great story. Thoughts on what you're anticipating here?
We have sacrificed together. This is our story.
When you say it, there's this thing that pops into your mind.
We determine the outcome. Tampa, January 1st, Outback Bowl, Arkansas.
We've got Penn State and Arkansas. First ever meeting between the 2 schools.
Prepare for defining moments in life.
Touchdown, Penn State!
tomorrow is more than a game.
Next game on the list right here. Let's go.
It showcases our preparation.
You prepare for defining moments in a season.
Our process.
Down the field. He's got Lambert Smith.
Our program.
This is what dreams are made of right here.
Pass is intercepted and run in for a touchdown by Daquan Hardy.
And this has just been bubbling and bubbling and bubbling, and here we go.
About as good a matchup as you can have.
Today's the defining moment.
He's got a touchback and score.
To the end zone, Parker Washington. To the end zone, and it's intercepted. Jair Brown, who's going to go the distance. Touchdown, Penn State.
Throws across the middle and it's intercepted. Going the other way.
Joey Porter Jr.
For some, this is the last time wearing blue and white. For others, it is just the beginning.
Oh, you can just start feeling it, Bill, don't you?
For all of us, it's time to continue our legacy. We are